Ten Commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make idols. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Honour your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. You shall not covet. Okay, the real meaning of the rainbow. Winston Churchill, World War II warning. Because of my prodigal situation at the moment, God's Spirit was inside me, and the words, "Take that dick out of that arse and get on with it," and said it with such authority that me and my kingdom spouse shook like the strictest father, boss or teacher you knew you couldn't mess with. We were both completely dumbfounded, meaning he's going to shake up all this thing with like hedonism and like not being aligned to God's purpose with a man and a woman, the way it should be and the way it was designed, and the way most countries are going now with this liberal craziness. And it says Jesus is the grace and the mercy, which means he will take you as you are, and God is the enforcer where he'll get back to where you should be. Every knee shall bow verse. With these gifts of prophecy that are being released to me, I am completely dumbfounded and scared of the power of his presence, which is a first in my life, as he has been pretty silent. But this is true reverence for God when you step into his almighty presence. And you don't know how damn scared I was last night. I mean, I'm scared of the helm, but he's actually favoured me with the gifts, and it was quite a wake-up call. He's like, I'm not putting up with this anymore, this kind of demonic activity. And it's not to outgaze and make them feel terrible or any kind of nastiness like what's happened in the past with like shock treatments and that. It's just a wayward activity that's gone away from God, and it's not ultimately good for you. And people like this, do need sort of coaxing along to the right way to go, because it's demonic and it shouldn't happen. We need to fast because of the disgusting satanic meal they have got us all eating and have had in preparation to hold our nation as a sacrifice. I get the feeling this could be about an intention for a mass kill operation similar to COVID, but might be linked to the food chain. I think it will be linked to the food chain with all the last videos and prophetic words. But first, I have to finish off my pack of cereal and milk. I'm finding it quite tough to fast. Hi, I'd just like to hi, I'm going to do like a layman's guide to what a Daniel fast kind of looks like, which is pretty simple. It's just like just open fruit and veg basically, but you've got like all the other bits like cat food and grains and stuff like that, so I'll show you. Okay, you got grains here. This one is from Quaker. I think God dropped me that these are okay because it says Quaker, but they seem pretty honest, the oats inside, but you never know. I'd really avoid anything packety or anything like that. It does say 100% whole grain, but obviously with the way things are hidden, you don't know what's in it. These I was dropped. You could have like grounded up bone in it, self-raising flour, so home baking is off limits for a while. Cat food, because like human beings are set higher in God's kingdom, I don't think we can do much about the cat food situation. I mean, they could actually be eating themselves back again, because there's they could actually be blending cats and dogs into the cat meat or wherever, so that is yet to be. Butter, I was given a drop that it could contain sperm, semen or anything like that, because it says like rapeseed. They're actually talking strange, obvious codes like that as well. Avoid anything like this, or cans, or anything processed in packets like this. Always open sourced food. Nothing, absolutely nothing processed. Cans of veg like this can be tampered with as well. I mean, it looks fairly innocent, but you don't know what's in the salt water. That's another thing. Anything that's packaged like this is fairly safe in nets, because it's still like open. I mean, they are saying that they sometimes spread the crops with a lot of sludge, which could actually be put on the crops, but this is the least of our problems compared to like processed. I bought these. I mean, these are processed, but they're still like an open sourced fruit. I think that's fairly safe. This is safe. The fruit that's in a net. There's bread as well. I was dropped that this could contain ground up human bones, like as in the flour. I love bread. This is going to be hard to give up, but for the better purpose. I think water is probably our only problem. I recently had something where the water tasted pretty disgusting. It actually tasted like someone had died in it, and I asked them to investigate it. And they literally fixed it by the afternoon, and it took them 2 days to come out to get a sample with Severn Trent. So that spoke a bit strange. I never knew what it was, they didn't tell me. So, and it definitely was awful. I had to throw out a kettle because it stunk that bad and it tasted terrible. So, but that's like damage limitation. We have to rely on our water supplies, and buying the processed stuff from the shop or bottled water isn't entirely trustworthy neither. This is basically the stuff that you eat on the Daniel fast, which is like mushrooms, onions, potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, celery, courgette, cucumber, lettuce, spinach, just anything that's raw. And if you come up with any recipes, because it's really boring, but it's better than eating human remains, I think. This is my fruit selection, which is kiwis, strawberries, apples, bananas, more apples, grapes, cherries. I used to follow a woman on YouTube a long time ago, Cookie Taylor, who used to reach for raw, and she used to do all sorts of smoothies and stuff with seeds and things like that, so they have to be open sourced as well. So you can turn veg into quite an interesting thing with smoothies and bananas and all sorts of things like that. So, and you can also use I don't know if there's something that actually dries the fruit out, which you can turn into snacks as well. So the only thing is with grains, because that's processed again, and like anything like rice ain't a good idea neither, because that's like very plasticky, the rice. That's all I can say really. I just wish that Reach for Raw woman had come back with some recipes like she used to, because she used to really glow with the fruits and stuff, but she used to have a lot of very creative ways of putting it together. Anyway, that's basically what we should get back to. Instead of tea, just have hot water, and make sure it's always boiled. And I'm finding it really hard to come away, in relation to the hedonistic kind of foods that I like to eat, and like the weight that I've put on, and I tend to use it as an emotional crutch, but these times we've got to strip back like in the war. As I have baked potato and salad, it was unprocessed food, open. It ain't going to be easy for us all, but once you find out what's actually in these awful in processed food, you're probably going to be quite shocked. But hopefully people will adapt their businesses eventually for more naturally farmed produce, and the big controlled food cartels will finally be killed off, who take influence from big business influences like Bill Gates, for instance, and the Bilderberg cartel, who control everything that we consume, and just everything, who have their mind on population control rather than people's interests, such as them, and they hate us basically, and they've got to be shown up for what they are. They're evil. However, the energy exchange will change soon. God's heart is aching as I speak. As I say, I can actually feel his heart drop. God has been pressing on me. This is the importance of the scale God has been pressing on me. This is of the importance on the scale of a World War II Winston Churchill broadcast. God has chosen this nation first, as others will follow, and we have a massive influence on the world. In conjunction with the last video, I think the natural fast is in reverence, a bit like Daniel fast, to God. He's coming because this is the most wicked thing that's going to come to light, which will create a massive stir in this country. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. It's going to be pretty shocking. I could feel rage in my chest. He wants this country to get back to its Christian roots, and that doesn't mean that the left kind of namby-pamby Christianity like lukewarm and secular, embracing gay marriages, blending Christianity into Halloween and witchcraft and other things. A strong, stoic Christian that stands for truth. Otherwise it loses its ability to save the word. That means not changing it or messing it up. And not pander to sentimentality or current trends such as gender blending, transhumanism, pronouns, rubbish. It's not the natural order of things, and it makes society crazy and self-indulgent as well. And from the experience that I've had with gay people, not saying that all gay people are like this, but most are. That's all they talk about all day is, where they've put their bits down there, and it's not healthy, get a life. Okay, here's a reminder of the 10 Commandments. I am currently still going through a massive struggle with my prodigal, as he is still stubborn and won't accept the promise. He is still being handed over to his lusts and cannot get away from his counterfeit, which I think is Satan using him, keeping him captive to delay the promise, or as a bargaining chip. I mean, he might have a lot of witchcraft on him and sorts of things that are holding him down. I was used to help him out of that unhealthy relationship which involved debauchery of every kind, witchcraft, hustling, sexual deviancy, going with other males, everything you can think of. And I helped him to know what a true loving relationship was, all in a spiritual world, as he was inside of me and I was inside of him, and still am. He brought me into the helm by some sort of magic which has been passed down by his family line for sexual pleasure against my will, a form of astral projection. Amongst other girls he has also brought in for his own pleasure in the past before me, and has used the power of the helm to hold them captive, and almost sent some of them girls mad. But when he brought me in, God had the last say on this time. Not saying it's been easy, but I gave as good as I got, and God has been holding me. Apparently, the internal torture of my body being constricted, full first force, burning feelings, breathing restrictions, which I've got some now, massive pressure on my head, which is all getting worse, will be helpful for future witchcraft and network attempts. So that goes to that verse that all will go together if God's in it. The weird thing about this guy is he was quoting scripture at me whilst I was having all this done to me, as God apparently told him to strengthen me with these bodily attacks, but he also used it to hide him from having sex with his counterfeit by blocking the signals in my brain. But my heart knew that it was bursting with heartbreak. Basically, I can feel everything with him, and it's actually got dulled down over the months because I've been helmed with this energy that blocks me from feeling him. So I don't really feel much emotion, but I can feel the pain, and it's really tight now around my waist. But it's just on breaking point. So, and it can get pretty tough at times. But God is sorting him out. He is afraid also of those who hold him captive around him, and he is slid back into his old life again. And I just have to endure the silliness until he wakes up. And it's getting worse each day, and I just have to be punished and suffer with him and be humiliated until he gets it. But believe me, he is suffering. With the pressing, he has been growing darker and more nasty. This woman is clearly not good for him, pulling him back to his old life he was deprived from. And God pulls no punches with dropping disrespectful lyrics we here to display for the free gift and the way out he was offering. So he'd come up with those, changing the lyrics to Radiohead in my head this morning. He's going, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, I don't belong here. In other words, he's staying in a place where he ain't welcome anyway. And Puff on the supermarket packet brand. And he's changing the lyrics, and he's being quite forceful with swearing and stuff like that, which is quite perplexing to me, because I'm going, you know, like, God actually uses insults, and there's a cross at the back of me, to actually deal with him and stuff like that. I'm going, oh, I don't know, this is a strange God. But he's using it for the ultimate purpose, and language belongs to him anyway, whatever, whether it's polite language or filthy language. He's for him and against him at the same time. This is a wake-up call to all of us. He will not accept the calling because his bodily needs are greater, until the scales have fully fell off his eyes. And boy, does it feel awkward. And my new name is now Slew rather than Sue. Anyway, watch this space. I also have had 2 drops of things in our foods: tea, death ashes, and salad cream, spunk. Check out the film Silent Green and Logan's Run, which goes on about feeding human remains or whatever back to the nation. For Jesus on that cross defragmented the earth, because he was a Time Lord and brought us all back in accordance with God's will. He will wait for that last sheep, the last note in the universal symphony we're all in. I've had that a theory that God doesn't let any of us go to hell forever because he loves us too much. I believe that he puts us in a washing machine till we come up with the right answer, on earth or afterlife. Could this be a form of purgatory, God's waiting room? In other words, he hands us over to our lusts, you know, our craziness, and then like, are you sure you want to go this way forever? And I just think he waits patiently for us and brings us back home again. Okay, thank you. Just thought I'd add on, my prodigal is really worried now in case he gets a lot of hate, but God's working his will in this, and also with his counterfeit, so leave it to him if anything comes out that's a bit suspicious. We love you.